And we're in. So I'm pretty sure I can be heard. Let me know if my voice isn't coming through. I haven't been playing opening theme music for a while, so I'm sorry if you have come to expect that and really love it, but we'll find a way to get more music coming in soon. Again, like I said in the chat, I'm moving to just Wednesdays and Fridays for the stream since on Mondays we're having in-person meetings about Idem. Not with very many people, just with you that are closely involved and happen to be living all in the same area. So it's really nice. So item cloud, all these things are going places. And so as you've seen in the past streams, we're working on pop create item. That's what Derek and I have been working on. Let's go to charm window. So this is an example pseudocode I was writing, and I'll explain in a minute. I don't delete it yet. So where pop create item is, it works. Pop create item is able to create exec modules. So here is taco VMC is for the name of something. Generated some VMware stuff. We have fully documented. We have function calls with paths. Like we have everything in here. This is working. It's super solid, super cool. Yeah. So then what I was trying to figure out, the problem that I solved and that we're going to be looking into deeper today, was I wanted to be able to say something like have my version number be one of the subs. Like have this version number be there in the sub. Probably start it with an underscore, so it's so I wanted to be able to organize my code like this, so that I have my VMC version 1.1.0 in its own subfolder, but when you actually call it from item, I want you to call it as if the version wasn't part of the path. We want the version in there for organization, but we don't want it in there doing the path. We want it to be part of the context variable. So when you set up your profile for the cloud, that's when you specify which version of the API you want to use. And if you don't specify one, then it just defaults to whichever one is tagged as the latest. So that's where we're at. So yeah, that's what I wanted to do there. So now we can get rid of all that pseudocode. It's in an auto-generated file anyway. I could just regenerate the file and just to prove that all this was created by pop create. Here, I delete all of the taco folder. Boom. Have it all up. Back from scratch. I also got it working from a Swagger spec, the pop create item, which is mostly similar to OpenAPI. There's still some bugs to work out with it. So with this API, it's based on a Swagger spec. They're done. But what I found when I did things from a Swagger spec, like for the most part, it worked very well. I was able to auto-generate my exec modules nice and easily. But it's not getting function parameters in there. So see, this path has a format string that does not have the ID coming in from up here. So there's a bug in there. Still some things left to do to convert Swagger to OpenAPI 3, but for the most part, we're there. Any other examples we have? That's the state of affairs now. You might remember in the last stream I looked at with Derek at Google's API. We were looking at proto buffer, REST API, considering other ways to consume APIs and auto-generate the code. passed to this cloud spec format so that we can auto-generate all our exec modules and tests and documentation. So where I'm at with Derek is we really want to start setting up CI/CD. We want to start shoving Swagger APIs, OpenAPI 3 APIs. We want to start shoving stuff like that into this so that we can start seeing, so that we can start massaging the process and making sure that it works really robustly for many different APIs. So that's coming. We haven't made any progress yet with all the CI/CD, but that's one of the next steps. And there's still many changes and improvements that need to happen to pop create item, but we're really close to a place where we can just start writing state modules and states and start making use of all of this stuff. So thank you everyone for being on board and participating, and for being part of this whole process. It's been lots of fun, and we've had, even in the stream, we've had so many suggestions and help that's come from the participants in the stream. So I really appreciate everyone that's been here and been part of the process. So without further ado, let's talk about what we're going to do today. So I mentioned this whole where was it at? It was in the cookie cutter code, cutter exec API version. So wasn't quite it. One more try. Here we go. So I had this concept. Oh, I just looked it up here, and this is actually an even harder place to look at it because it's all got all the templating in there. So let's look at the auto-generated version of this same file. Oh, this one. So what I wanted was a dynamic sub, and when I was working with Idem GCP, I had toyed with the concept of a dynamic sub. Basically a sub that, like, getting from a context variable what part of the path to the sub is while the paths are being accessed. So I had this concept of a dynamic sub. And so this is something that I want to bake into POP so that you can call something like hub.pop.sub.dynamic sub and pass it hub.exec.vmc, and then say whatever is directly under this sub is the thing that is going to be dynamic. So I want to do this thing that I've done, and I want to make it broadly applicable, not just for VMC, not just for cloud. I'm trying to make a broadly applicable dynamic sub, and put it into POP. So that's what's on the docket for today. So let me open that up real quick. Open. So a lot of people, when they get into extending POP, like it can be a great fear point for a lot of people because like there's like of all the people that have contributed to the core POP repo, there's not very many, like 5 or 6 people total. So yeah, it's fun to get in there, and I hope that today you get a feel for what it's like to dig into the internals of POP. It's fun. There, I was just resetting my branch. So where this is going to go inside of the POP repo, let's see, we have pop.pop.mods.pop hub.sub. So because I wanted to put this just comes from me knowing where things are in pop in general, but hub.pop.sub.add or load subders, those all exist inside of this module. I happen to know that. For example, though, we could find that out from scratch if we did pop.sub.add if I wanted to know where that function was. And it would say this function is, this is its reference on the hub, contracts, annotation. Does it tell us the pi path of it? Would maybe if I just say pop.sub. Attributes file. Yeah, then this tells me exactly which file it's in. So anyway, if you're wondering how to find file references for things that are on the hub, especially things that are in obscure places, such as these specific parts of pop, then yeah, PopDoc can show you. Messages real quick. Any questions, comments, arguments, and concerns? Does this look fun? Does it look like it's too much? Any rebuttals? All right, since there are 0 questions, we will move forward. Pretty long file. Sub.add. Send a sub. Remember when I put doc strings in this and documented the whole thing? This whole code used to not have any. It's like you can see I'm adding all the documentation strings and all the return types. Yeah, that was a fun day. Let's just add it to the end of this file. Def dynamic sub load subders. So we would call hub.pop.sub. Having sub in the name of the function on the end. So maybe dynamic. Add dynamic. Or dynamic. I like just dynamic. Hub. Hub. We also need to know, based on our example over here, we're going to need to know the name of the sub that we're using. We also need to know color. Yeah, this is my way of turning this dynamic sub. So the sub has a part of it right here that is the underscore hub. And if we look at the sub object, you can see it right here. It has a list of subs underneath it. So what that looks like inside of pop code is like over here in the taco cloud. This is the root of the project, item taco. Exec is the first sub. So like when we're calling an exec module from within code, it's hub.exec .vmc this version .disk .compute. So the file is a plugin. This is a plugin. This is a sub. And so this list of subs or this dictionary of subs maps this name exec to a sub object that contains the subs that are underneath it. So this underscore subs is kind of how a sub knows where it stands in the hub tree. And then, it has a list of aliases, so you can call a sub by different names. Like I can alias the latest version to the word latest, which is one thing that I did over here, as I said. If you can get the version, get the sub called latest, and also this sub has a virtual name of latest, and it also has what the actual version name as an alias. So, whew. So that's what's going on here. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be overriding that specific attribute. We're going to take the reference in the hub or this sub that we're given, and we're going to say, hey, make that subs structure, make it something dynamic, make it an object rather than a dictionary. But it's a mapping, so it's an object that acts like a dictionary when we need it to, but has other attributes like remembering the references that were used to build it and leaving space to insert more references. So I hope this is really clear. Like I'm hearing myself talk about it, and like if I listen to myself talk, it sounds like not. So if this can be more clear, or if you're getting it, give me a thumbs up. Is that good to know? If you can be more clear, I'd like to know that too, because I want to document this, and if this is going to justify another release of POP, I'll even POP version.py. We'll even preemptively bump the version to version 17. And we'll also in the docs, of course, releases. Whoops. 17.rest. We'll even prepare place for the introduces. Oops, accident. WQ is so natural to do. I do it on accident all the time. Here right now. Yeah, so we'll document what the change we're making does. We'll add a test for it. This will justify a new release of POP, and it's going to be awesome. Well, this is all just a little bit heavy in my mind. So thanks for bearing with me. Let's just copy all this code for now directly over. No, I don't want to copy. We just need the main class, dynamic sub, it's a mapping. Or add ABC to the main class. Wait, what did it in? No, I didn't want typing come from there. Where did I want typing to come? Collections.abc. I wanted it to be an abstract based class. I didn't want it to come from typing. I gotta turn off notifications on myself. Might have heard that. Also, I'm going to put in a plug for universerules.blog. Since it's Autism Awareness Month, and we're past Autism Awareness Day, but here are the recent posts on how to be aware of autism and guides about how to be happy, positivity, all sorts of things. And so, great blog, highly recommend. And that's a good start for supporting autism. I just doesn't want ABC in there. Oh, implement abstract method. Sure, whatever. Never mind. We're gonna do that. We actually are gonna copy code. Oh, hold on. What are those abstract methods? There. This is what it takes to be a mapping. We don't need set item to be considered a mapping. Interesting. A dynamic. Because this is going to be in pop.mods.pop.sub.dynamic. Dynamic mapping. Dynamic mapping, but it is a mapping. Oh. I'll just call it dynamic. I like shorter names. And the pathing makes it explicit what it is and where it is. Okay. I'm just going to copy some things. I'm just going to type it directly because I don't want to copy everything over and then massage it to being what it needs to be. I'd rather just write it from scratch here and have it be what it should be. Find the class in here, and this way I don't have to pass in a hub or a sub. So get item name. Thing it will return is a sub. Length will return an int. Iterator will return I think I'll return iterator strings. I don't know. Curious about this now. So I say Python. No, I'm already in Python. I say iter over a dictionary. It returns the strings on the values. Oh, I should show that little snippet. The full screen here. This is what I did. I just spun up a little Python console and then did iter over a dictionary. Got the next item out of the iterator, and it iterates over the keys, not the values. So I was just testing that real quick. Sometimes better than consulting documentation is just poking around at code. Um, And I need to actually, because I'm mimicking a data structure and because real subs will also be mixed in with these dynamic subs. For example, I have hub.exec.vmc.latest. Let's not use VMC. AWS EC2 instance.list. I have a function like this in the hub. But let's say I want latest. I want to pass hub.exec.aws in as this sub. And I want this to be dynamically determined because it'll always be the thing after the sub that I've given. That is the dynamically determined thing. And it could come from CTX, or if your project isn't an item project, it could come from the hub. Technically, that's what I was just thinking about. Yeah, it's gonna be really robust. I like it. Get item. Our length will just be subs. If we iterate it, we'll iterate over the real subs that we contain. The subs, this is making it what we just did now. And actually, if I were to say return self.subs name, I've actually mimicked the dictionary so much that this actually works exactly like the current dictionary already does. Like this dynamic mapping doesn't work any differently from a regular mapping. Pretty awesome. I'm going to decide if I actually want this to be inside of this function and use this hub, or if I want to pass a hub in. That real quick, sorry. Quiero hacer, no sé, estoy también pensando en hacer un stream en español. Dime si te suena bien. I'm also capable of doing these streams in Spanish, and I'm thinking, what if I did like one of my streams, like my Wednesday stream in Spanish and my Friday one in English? Would that bother people, or would it be like, oh, cool, because you're listening to this in the background anyway? So it doesn't matter what I'm saying. I can speak Spanish, French, Russian. Doesn't matter. I can only speak. I'm trying to learn conversational Japanese, but right now I'm 100% fluent in Spanish. Still have a few more tech words I need to learn in Spanish. For the most part, I think I've got most of what I need. Yeah, so if you think it'd be cool to do a stream in Spanish, let me know. If you're watching this right now, if you're watching YouTube or on wherever you're watching this, let me know if you think it'd be cool to do a stream in Spanish. Did. It looks clear to have his class. Good. What if there's already things on this? Like, I don't know if there might already be subs inside of this. Let me see. I just need to say that is these. No, because I can't alphabetize them. Default and sub doesn't, so I'll put sub next to subs. Actually, this needs a default. Equals none. There. Yeah, because you don't want this to be a dictionary because the mappings up here are mutable in the parameters. And so if I was to say the default is a dictionary right here, then every time I create a new object, it would be the same object rather than a new one. And we don't want that. So this is actually okay. And then saying subs or this, it evaluates subs, this argument, as a Boolean. And if it's none, it'll evaluate to false, and it will say, no, I don't need to do this actually. Because I know the sub that I'm working with. I don't need to know its subs too and pass them. So I can say subs equals sub dot subs dot copy. I can just do that. Yeah, because this sub, it knows what subs it has. I was about to pass them explicitly from over here. That doesn't mean anything. Okay. We are making a sub dynamic. That is cool. Mostly there. Now we're ready for this logic for the get item. Cool. Now we're saying if the sub exists in our dictionary over here, then let's use that. Return the thing immediately. Otherwise, if we have an alias to the sub, let's use that too. What does the get adder look like? You're doing a sub. And use the get adder. Oh wow, it looks at a lot of things. Item in self.subs. How is the dot? How is contains calculated? Oh, we're calculating it right here. I'm wondering if a more robust way to do this, if I say, I'm wondering if I can say if getAdder subs name and we're there. Because the sub, it might not be no, I don't like that. I hope this works. There we go. Yeah, because this will also check the sub alias. Like what I did over here was kind of hacky and it worked. But now I want to say, hey, if the sub I'm in already has this attribute, return that attribute. If not, return that. If not, then we're building a reference that is something that we can dynamically determine later. So this makes things work the way that they already do. So yeah, I think I can get rid of this and this. If has add or self sub, I think this just does that already. Ah. Oh, next iter contain item. Have a length. There. We've solved the links problem, we've solved the iterator problem. We're building a reference. We've got something way more robust than what I was doing over here. Good thing we didn't copy all the code directly. I don't like this. I'm really good at writing one-liners. I could write so much more code in one-liners, but that's a bad mistake. So breaking code out is much better than writing nasty one-liners. Even though writing nasty one-liners is a really good way to get job security, but it's not the right way to get job security. Mm-hmm. Callable sub. So I want to have a version of a sub that is exactly like a sub, only I'm passing it the root of, this sub. It's in it is false. It also has a reference. F. Okay, cool. We're ready to bring in this callable sub object. Mm-hmm. But how do we bring this in a way that's nice and dynamic for all this? To start here. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the color, when I pass in a color, like this color is just dumb. All it's doing is passing in args and quarks directly. What I want to do is all of this logic is something I want the user end to define. For example, if we were to use this new version of pop over here, let's actually do that right now. Let's make sure that what we're doing works for the purpose that I'm creating it for. And then we'll document it and write a test for it and make sure that it works in all the other ways. And then we'll write this down. Actually, just... okay. So over here in the auto, first I need to pip install -e pop, making sure that I have my custom version of pop installed to this environment. Now I can say pub dot pop dot sub dot dynamic pub dot exec dot vmc. I guess in this case cookie cutter dot cloud name. And then I also pass it the color. And I don't need this anymore. I don't need any of this anymore. I might need this. Here I'm doing a ref.split. Not quite how this works. Anyway. Hmm. Hmm. I'm just trying to think of what's a robust way to get this ref here. Cool. Yeah, pass it. Expect it to be one of the things put in over here. Well, I call. I'm starting to not like. And then I just expect whoever's writing this to have space for. That, and then I expect it to show up like over here. Or did I say args, quargs, and subref last? Maybe something like that. Okay. Hmm. At this point, as long as they pass back to me this, maybe I expect this to be passed back. Like a. I don't call it the caller. We'll get there in just a second. Hold on. I'll find better names for all this in a minute. We're getting there. They don't need to know self. But I do. Now I can say here we go. I think this will work. This, I just need to name everything and document it. Now this call function is going into here. That I can say, cool, pass me the arguments to the function that determines yeah. All right, let's automatically generate that sub again. Poof, now we're here. Let's see if this works. I'll put a breakpoint right here. We'll run item taco and crash. Where did we crash? Why did we crash? We didn't crash right here. That's where I wanted to crash. Oh, it's because we don't have a set item in here. Don't support item assignment. Isn't that what it's trying to do on this? Oh no, it's not. It's trying to do it on self.sub.subs. That's what it thinks it's iterating over. We're good. Sorry, we're back on track. We're not back on track. I guess we'll break right here. Name. New sub is a sub object. Self dot sub dot subs is another dynamic thing. Oh, that's the then we step into it again, and now subs is still a dynamic thing. Okay, that's the problem. We're at the first one. Self sub subs sub dot subs. Unreal thing too. Okay. We've got recursion because we have recursion. And that's why we're seeing a recursion error. Um, Uncallable sub. Ah! Boom. Recursion error. Let's see. Nope, still got a recursion error. Hmm. How do we do this set item? Maybe I've got to pass in sub.subs. Like that. Ooh. For here, when I was looking at this yesterday, and everything was working. Let me see. Where am I using my sub? Is there any place that I'm angling it? Nope. Version error deeply. Oh, I gotta use some other logic. I'm gonna say if name and self dot subs Oh, we're getting to here. Really, we're not getting to. Oh, we might be getting. Nice. Okay, now we're getting into the place where we want to be. Whew. Took long enough. There's just a bug of if it's a loaded mod or we'll get there in a sec. Actually, we can get that right now. Um, oh, the iter actually iters over self.loaded. Huh. Look at that. No, that's what I want it to be. I want it to look like a mapping. Okay. Um, they're now returning things loaded. Okay, now when we look at the get item of sub, what does it look at? Loaded, subs, then sub alias. Loaded, subs, then sub alias. Nice. I think we got this figured out. Okay, so args, I have my CTX. Args, none. There is no hub in this. hub.exec dot go. Oh, we're here. We're in func. Jump into this function. Nice. Like expected. I have a hub. I have my context. I have args and quargs. I'm only using CTX. And then I return the reference on the hub that I want. Nice, and here I can have different logic for determining the API version if we want. Be different for every cloud project. That's pretty nifty, I would say. I don't even need this function to show up on the hub. I can do it like this. I can check the top level sub. Oh, except I'm pretty sure that'll work. Nice. And my actual function is a sub object. And that fails. But that's okay. It fails because I need to actually put something on there that in the call that, oh, I'm using something different to generate my stuff. Taco class. Doesn't matter, I'll just run them all. Taco create. Where's that user controller one show at? Oh. I changed that here, but I didn't actually change it where I needed to. Here. I like it. Okay, let's find something that does exist for this. I'm going to delete all of Taco Cloud. Hi, Taco Cloud. Now we're going to recreate it based on this API here. And now we're going to find an exec module that exists in there, 110 user controller does too exist, and it does too have the attribute. What attribute was it missing? Missing 2 required positional arguments. Oh, yeah, now it's actually getting into the function call, and it's actually just missing them. So cool, this is actually working now. So what we've ended up with is, and that back up from the taco cloud. Nope, not that one. This in it. Okay. So over here, oh, I don't even need those imports anymore. Nice. So what we're ending up with is I'm doing this stuff with account. And then we're saying, by the way, make hub.exec.vmc a dynamic sub and use this to get the version sub on top of that. So this gives us, we can say hub.exec.vmc dot, like actually I can show you the call that's happening up here. You can't see the parameters. It looks like this. I can say item exec vmc dot user controller dot get user info in organization, and then it is getting the version from ctx.account, which it's not in there because it's empty, and so it defaults to getting the latest version, and the latest version is aliased to version 1.1.0. So this is working. We now have something within POP that can be used, so I don't have to rewrite this code for every single cloud module. All we have to do is rewrite this one little piece. So we've made it. I don't understand the comment there. If someone has accidentally pasted their password into here, then that. But welcome to the stream. Are you trying to give me a script to run? I'm not going to run that. But if we're just gonna put random strings into chat, then here's a random string. Don't put that in your shell. The thing I just pasted, don't do anything with that. Just pretend it doesn't exist. It's just for fun. Yeah, I think we've got this. We've got this working. I think this is pretty slick because we can now customize how we are getting this version sub. And anyone who wants to use a dynamic sub can use it in a different way. Yeah, so now we just need to document this new feature. We need to make sure that the variable names for the new code that we've written explains itself on top of adding doc strings to everything. None of these functions, right? Yeah, so let's go through and document this first. I think that's a way to go. We'll document this and then we'll write a test to make sure it works in all of the ways that we've documented it and try to get as many edge cases as we can. That's what I think a good path would be. Of course, you want that now. Didn't take very long. What, 40 minutes to get through? How long has the stream been going? Let me look down here. Oh, in 2 hours. Okay, so maybe a little bit long. But it's been fun, and this is a robust solution, and there are so many places where I would like to use a dynamic sub. I'm excited about this. That's not what I was complaining about. Okay, this has been fun. We're editing the core of pop. Pretty often we get to dig down in journals. Checking messages real quick. Well, everyone's been pretty silent. The Add some doc strings for all this. The hub. Redistributed pop central hub. Something that takes sub as an argument. This one does. It's sub. But we're using sub in a little different way. The sub to modify the dynamic subs. The sub to modify it to have dynamic subs underneath it. Cool. It's sub, a callable function. A callable function that can be used a callable function that is used to determine a desired path under the given sub. A callable function that returns the desired object on the hub. The callable function that returns the desired object on the so then get sub might not be the best. Um this is something that determines it doesn't necessarily get a sub because we're using it to get a function. So calling it get sub and having a function be the return doesn't really make sense. So this should be called something that's very intuitive. Get adder, but that's already something. Get object, get reference, get ref. Get color. So the reason we have to do this nonsense is because if I call hub.exec.vmc. or aws.ec2.instance.list, and this function, this actual function call where it exists in AWS, it's going to look something like this. And so when it comes down to it, when it gets to here, this function actually exists at Idem AWS exec AWS latest these two instant, and the list underscores alias to list. This is what that function actually looks like. This is what we're going for. Maybe there's something talking in some form. Does get caller a callable function that returns the desired target function hub. This function is returning. It's not returning a function though, I'm expecting it to get a reference. Ugh. It's returning a reference. Get reference, I feel like is more appropriate. So, hmm. Oh yeah, I remember I was going with this whole thing too. So this reference on the hub, because it actually exists under the latest, and I'm overriding hub.exec.aws, I'm overriding the subs underneath this so that they are dynamic. This whole reference, each of these is going to be a dynamic sub object. Even this last one that is technically a function. So the reason why I need this callable object right here, this callable sub, is to say, hey, by the way, the last one, if we ever try to call something at this point, that means we've reached the function at the end and pass it everything. Pass it the actual reference, actually call this function with the arguments that it was called with, and determine what this is. That's what's going on here. Um, create dynamic subs underneath the named sub. Yeah, this is totally clear. 100% clear. I just realized I don't need to check for anything in sub.loaded because I'm checking for subs. Because I'm overriding the subs dictionary. Like there's already logic that is going to check if something is inside of loaded. So I don't need to do that. So this loaded stuff is necessary. That's a problem that doesn't exist. The only problem in this case is that when someone does a get item on the sub, it will always return something. Uh, let's see. A sub that calls. Hmm. the target function with the parameters passed. Yeah, and then it's up to you to say like if you're gonna use CTX, if you're gonna use the hub, it's up. Okay. I think I've documented this, and now I'll just put the documentation in here, spin up some tests, and then check it with Tom and a couple other people that are deep in the code, and have this out, implement it in pop create item, and we'll be good to go. So I'm gonna end the stream there for today. Thank everyone who has participated and appreciate your support. Autism Awareness Month, so I recommend checking out that blog. That blog. If you have any questions, comments, arguments, or rebuttals, let me know. And if you want to talk about pop or item, let me know. I'm in Slack, on Discord. I have a where they use Office. So until Friday, see you all later. Have a great rest of your day.